Weirdly, I'm actually joined by Cody here in my own home. We're both vaccinated. We're both safe, and I think we're even still keeping 6 feet apart. Bam! Camera's live. But yeah, there's a Cody there. Hello, Cody. I got him while he was drinking root beer. Ha ha ha! I proved he's evil. He's drinking my root beer. Son of a bitch.
It's delicious.
So yeah, we're here with Duck and Cover. I'm trying to get some marbles going once again. If we ever get anybody to join us, but let's see. I also have one other thing. I should have probably pulled that up first. I'm new at this. Leave me alone.
Spoiler alert, he's not new to radio shows.
I am not new to talk shows. I'm new to the format in which I am doing it on. I've only been doing this for like 5 months, and I'm trying every different thing and being new and weird, and I'm probably not doing it right. So, take pity on me, gods of the internet!
We might literally have to go back to like the old school college radio days with like a spiral notebook. Like here's the stuff. Here's today's topics.
Oh, I've got today's topics. I was trying to pull up. I had gotten myself some audio to lay underneath us.
Oh, okay.
So that way we're not, when we aren't talking, there is not any dead air.
Right. For you kids out there who didn't take radio class, it's called bed music.
Yeah, so hopefully I can get that playing and not too loud, not too, quiet. Well, quiet's fine, actually. Quiet can usually be, if you're even really low, once it hits that dead air, you'll notice what is and isn't there.
Yeah, just something, because if we don't want to have to talk off already, just, something.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. In the meantime, I'll make someone for you.
Well, and something I really wanted to get made up, which I don't think either of us really figured out, is wanted to talk to you guys here on our wonderful show today. Oh, there we go. Getting some nice little beats going there. We can't barely hear it, but that's okay, because we're not supposed to hear it. We're supposed to just be talking. So we've got a wonderful show for you today. By wonderful, I mean we'll try and put as much of it in. We've been very busy showing things off. And moving things. Well, we've been adulting. I was showing off one thing. And maybe I'll ask Cody to go grab it for me and I can show it off on camera. Not now. We'll show it off later.
Okay.
Not now. We're fine.
Okay.
But it is several days of the year today, going based off of, what's the website called? Daysoftheyear.com. Daysoftheyear.com has said that today is 3 different days. There are more days, but these are the 3 that I decided to focus on in particular. It is Hemophilia Awareness Day, Bat Appreciation Day, and Haiku Day. So sometime through the show, hopefully either Cody and I, or, if my lovely wife is listening, someone will think up of some vampire poetry. A vampire haiku. Also, we were arguing whether or not hemophilia is 5 or 4 syllables.
I say 5. It's kind of like umpire in the sense of like it kind of depends on how you say it.
So technically, hemophilia, kind of counts as a haiku. Because 2 das is and then helophilia said 3 times. I hope that brings awareness.
Hemophilia, oh yeah, hemophilia. There's one haiku. But I was thinking of a better one. If you'll indulge me, I don't have the middle, but I will try.
Okay.
The full moon rises. A dark castle in the night. Lovers in the dark. Thank you.
Alright, we got some vampire poetry. Fantastic. All right. Well, moving on. After that lovely verse of vampire poetry, put your own, if you feel like you can, some vampire haiku, vampire poetry, any vampire poetry. I think will be fine for today. In the chat. And
can we talk about vampire love songs real quick?
I think we've got. If you've got time, I've got time.
Okay, so real quick, here are my top 2 vampire love songs, because they're the only ones I know. First one, Total Eclipse of the Heart, because that's originally what it was intended for, but the guy's like, I can't write a whole musical around it, so Total Eclipse of the Heart stands on its own.
Okay.
Number 2, 10,000 Maniacs, Because the Night, because that one's good. Because the night belongs to lovers. Totally, that's a vampire love song. I don't want to hear, you can, but your odds of saying that it's not are quite low, as I do believe that it's a vampire love song. It's got that really melodramatic sense of longing that Total Eclipse of the Heart does.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think another one that might be is Queen's Who Wants to Live Forever. Or at least I saw there was a what was it? Who did it? Lindsey Sterling and another group did their own cover of the song. Very much in the, all the guys are dressed up in that Victorian vampire. Who wants to live forever? Who dares to live forever?
Damn, dude. Get this man a record contract.
No, it's a very, very much a sort of vampire, I want to love somebody, but I'm going to live forever and they're going to die. So what's the point of living forever if I can't love the person and live with them?
Yeah.
Interesting. All right, well, that's apparently our Vampire Poet Day. Please put your vampire poetry into the chat. And we'll bring it up maybe later. I don't know. I don't think so. Because moving on, we've got the Nerd Agenda.
Yes.
The Nerd Agenda. I've got four topics. 4 fantastic topics. Technically 3.5, because the first topic of the Nerd Agenda is Ape Watch. Which is me being like, is there any news on Ape Escape? No news, nothing. It is what it is. I'm going to make this channel and almost half indebted to, is there more Ape Escape? No, then hell with PlayStation. When PlayStation makes a new Ape Escape, I will make the leap to the new PlayStation generation, PlayStation system. Until then, PlayStation 1 and 2 is where I stay. Maybe 3, depending on how lucky I get.
Because this man has been streaming Ape Escape on his Twitch channel.
I just did on that last Thursday. Did Ape Escape, the very first game. Managed to get through a quarter of the game already. It's already said that I've got 26 completion. I'm going for 100% completion. Got Ariel up.
Aww.
Look at that. That is the best thing right there. I love this dog. Porter is not going to be joining us today, as he's currently getting a snip haircut. So next piece of our agenda is, following Ape Watch is Zombie Watch. Zack Snyder's making a new movie with Dave Bautista, if you guys have not already heard. It is a zombie movie called Army of the Dead. No idea if this is going to be a standalone movie or if it's tied to the many of the dead zombie movies that are out there, including Zack Snyder's own Dawn of the Dead. That's the one that takes place in the shopping mall.
Okay.
Back in 2004. In 2005, though, there was another one that, as the trailer suggests, the zombies in Las Vegas are faster, stronger, smarter than, what you would imagine. And this is very reminiscent of the 2005 Land of the Dead, made by and written by the father of the dead, George R. Romero. Man, I was a big zombie head. I loved all sorts of zombie shit. And this, I think I really, what broke me was World War Z. My 21st birthday was probably one of the worst.
Man.
Well, no, that's not entirely true. The birthday part of it, like the going out, turning 21, going to bars and whatnot, perfectly fine. Then going to my favorite book of all time at that point was World War Z, written by Max Brooks, and I had listened to that book, written reports about it. I had turned the book previous to it, the Zombie Survival Guide. I actually made a Monopoly game based on that book and turned it in as a school project.
You made some YouTube videos too.
I did. I think I don't think they're still on this channel, or they're on my original channel that were like it was supposed to be another like book report project of, I'm blogging during the apocalypse of Max Brooks' book. And I did it really weird too. I had weird problems in school.
We're nerds, man. Yeah.
But the big thing I think for me that I just was like, I was really intent that the zombies had to be a certain way. And honestly, I think if someone was going to make the zombie World War Z media that I really imagined, it couldn't have been, a Brad Pitt action flick that ends in 2 hours. It has to be like a Band of Brothers sort of thing. Because that's how the book is written. The book is written on, here is, the warning signs, the Great Panic. Here is, the turning points, the war in America, the war abroad. And I think the audiobook, after it didn't do the audiobook is really an interesting story because they didn't do all of the audiobook, all the book at once. They did a lot of chunks of it, and then they started releasing more like revised versions, so it would add on people's stories who were in the book but not in the audiobooks later on. And eventually it got I believe it's gotten all the stories and then some. Now the audiobook, the full completed part, actually has a few stories in it that aren't in the book.
Oh shit.
Like I believe I want to say one of the ones that's like the earliest reporting in the novel, this version of it, has Nathan Fillion as some sort of Canadian sort of CIA agent or DEA agent sort of a thing, going into like Uzbekistan and Kazakhstan sort of area where they're trying to hunt down smugglers, drug runners, and instead they come upon this den that's completely obliterated. They don't know what happened to it, and it's zombies, of course. But no one believes him. They think he's crazy, and then they put him into an asylum. And by the time he comes out, the world's ended. But of course, it's also narrated by Nathan Fillion, and I love the book. I was a stupid kid. That's one of the two things that will always say on my channel. I was a stupid kid, and I'm also a cosmetic whore. I will shell out fucking money or time to get good cosmetics if I really, really want them.
Yep.
What was I gonna say? It was
you're making a tangent about.
I didn't Mark Hamill does a big part in the audiobook. There's an American soldier who is in the book a lot because it's Max Brooks. Max Brooks knows America, so he writes mostly about the American point of view. But there's still a lot of other countries that are mentioned and brought up in their points of view. I think Israel is an interesting one. Of what they do in the movie is very, very close and similar to what they do in the book. But the point of view is completely different. Rather than an outsider of Brad Pitt coming in and being like, they built a wall. It is a point of view of the whole Israeli and what was it? The Muslim. It's the whole. It's Israel. Who controls Israel? That whole
so it's a Jewish population that controls.
Well, it's Jewish and Palestinian. That's the big conflict, and it comes from the point of view, I believe, of a Palestinian.
Yeah, because Israel and Palestine have been fighting for a long time. Yeah.
Right, and it's coming from the point of that. It's an interesting point of view that isn't, it's not an outsider. It's an insider who wants, who's like, they're telling everyone to come back, and it's a trap. I know it's a trap. I'm telling my father it's a trap. They don't want us to come back. They want to take us in and then turn us into slaves. Of course, having no knowledge that the zombie apocalypse is happening. And the Israeli agents has gone through, and apparently there's a whole thing of all the conflicts that have happened to the Jewish people have created this sort of the 10th man agenda sort of. It's the idea is if you've got 10 agents and 9 of them agree that some sort of report is crazy, it definitely couldn't happen. The 10th one still has to look into it. And so this guy looks into it and finds out, yes, zombies are happening. So they take all of the information that they get and they decide, we're going to build a 20-foot wall around everything. Which looks crazy to the world, who have no idea what's going to happen and whatnot, and think that they're building a wall for nothing. It's insane. It's a fun. A fun idea. Not the wall. Fuck that. It comes from the point of view of 2 different people who are on the inside, rather than an American outsider who's just being like, "Oh, what's happening over here in Israel? What's happening here in North Korea?"
Yeah. I think it also speaks to your love of the Fallout series, John, where it's not really about one person; it's about the different factions dealing with the circumstances.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I definitely love the Fallout series. I've got plenty of reasons, and other stuff that says
I'm responsible for some of it.
And I mean, it's also had an influence on me. I mean, one of the reasons I did, I got into radio and met you, and strove out to become friends with you is the fact that in the first day of our radio program, you made a fucking Three Dog reference.
Ow!
And I was just kind of like, Fallout! I'm making friends with that fucker. Which, surprisingly, at the time, you actually hadn't beaten Fallout 3 yet. You knew about Fallout 3. You knew about it. And it's I found out later you hadn't played it and you were going through it.
Yeah, because my coworkers at the time, I worked at...
You worked at a pizza place where, filled with teenagers who, of course, are going to,
Yeah, and on the morning shift, no one, barely anyone's ordering pizza in the morning. It's schools or churches, but it's not busy. So you're sweeping the floors, or you're one guy had a phone with internet on it. So either you were folding boxes, you were watching this tiny ass screen on this guy's phone, you were talking about video games, and one of them loved Fallout. So I got to hear about it. I bought it on a Steam sale, and
nice.
Yeah.
Anyway, we were talking about Army of the Dead.
Yes.
Zack Snyder's new movie, which I'm sure is going to get a lot of people in there for a couple different reasons. A, Dave Bautista. B, Snyder Cut. C, anyone who likes zombie movies. It's going to probably be, I don't know. I'm a little worried because it looks weird. It looks crazy bombastic, and I'm not sure if that's the kind of zombie movie I'm into anymore.
Yeah.
But if you're looking for something that's a big run and gun, crazy zombie, I think if you're looking for something that looks like a Left 4 Dead zombie movie set in Las Vegas, this looks like something I think that would be for you.
From a director who is not Michael Bay. And honestly, as far as I
do think there's one other thing that would give it credits for something to watch is that there was, I can't remember who it is. They'd filmed the entire movie, and they had one of the people that was in the movie was outed as a fucking sexual predator, and so they decided to completely re-edit the movie, removing him and replacing him with I can't remember her name, but she is very awesome. I've got a lot of friends in the the bi community that are just like foaming at the mouth for.
Gal Gadot?
No, fuck. I've got to look it up now.
Okay.
I gotta look it up who it is. You're putting it in the chat? Rig Notaro. Okay.
What?
Oh, Lauren put it in the chat. Rig Notaro.
Oh.
And it's like one of the few scenes you've got her in the trailer. She's just smoking a fucking cigar, fixing a plane or whatnot. It's fucking great.
That's awesome.
Tig, not Rig. Tig.
Tig. That's what Laura was saying. Because I okay. But yeah, that is really cool. I know that Snyder, the Snyder cut with like Justice League and Batman v Superman. I don't think he's like the second coming of Jesus as far as filmmakers go. But
I don't think he's a second coming either. I mean, okay, so
he's got some talent. You know,
I'm not saying he doesn't have talent. I'm saying that he did really good with the Snyder cut, and it was the reason it was as it was. There's.
I see.
And let's see if I can get.
Oh, to replace Chris D'Elia. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I've heard about Chris D'Elia. Yeah, he... hashtag Gravelmatic. Oh, there's the cigar picture. That's great. That is great.
Just a fucking badass.
Yep.
And I think I had one friend who was just kind of like, they should do this all the time. If people that are found out like this, just put in a badass lesbian.
Yep.
So it does look very fun, and I'm excited. I also think the premise though is just a very interesting one. Of all right, so here's the idea: we're going to hire a bunch of these mercenaries and thieves and whatnot to rob a bank in Las Vegas, or rob a casino in Las Vegas. Oh, that's Ocean's 11. Yes, except zombies everywhere. What?
So, I mean, like, the zombies don't need the money. It's just all there. And there's no way they could have touched it because it's in, like, these really super secure safes.
Yeah.
Like, a zombie's not going to scratch
who knows
its way
how
into a
secure they're
safe.
going to be. Las Vegas is overrun. Is there power still coming to the place? I mean, Mr. House isn't going to save it. Oh, all right, moving on. 20 minutes in, moving on to the next thing. Gundam Watch. No, actually, I am skipping one, but I'll come back. So, Gundam Watch, Gundam Live. Netflix and Sunrise, owners of the studio Legendary, are coming together and making an anime turned live action once again. But they're doing it. They're making an anime live action. As if we don't have enough on our hands with live action Cowboy Bebop coming out. The studios are arming Kong Island's Jordan Vogue Roberts and Saga's Brian K. Vaughan with Mobile Suit Gundams.
Ooh.
So they're making Mobile Suit. They're either going to do the very first one. I mean, everything I've seen so far and kind of absorbed into my brain is a thought that it's either going to be the very first in the original, it's Earth versus Space Federation, or it's going to be Gundam Wing, which is what made America so, there's a lot of Gundam series. There's a ton of Gundam series. There's apparently multiple Gundam timelines. And the one that really hit it with America was Gundam Wing. And I would know because I owned the Gundam Wing movie. I didn't know anything about anything that came to Gundam Wing. I just knew it was giant robots fighting giant robots in space with laser cannons and laser swords. And it was fantastic.
You're the embodiment of that meme of like the Gundam representing all these giant political conflicts, and you're just going, "Wow, cool robot!"
I mean, yeah, like I said, I was a dumb kid.
Hey,
There was a lot of maturity that I think I had, but at the same time, there was also a level of ignorance, and that's why I say I'm a dumb kid. But I also think, like I said, Kong Island the director of Kong Island and the writer of the Saga series. He wrote actually some of their screenplays and whatnot, but Saga I think is probably something I personally view as bigger. It's a I don't know if you're familiar with the comic book.
No.
I thought it was pretty big, but everything I heard. I don't read a lot of comics. I don't read. I don't know how to read. That's not true. I'm dumb and ignorant.
No, dude, like, my comic knowledge is Marvel and DC. I am way out of my depth with that compared to you and everybody else.
Weirdly grabbing back to last week's episode, Jupiter's Legend of Jupiter, or whatever it is that's coming out. We talked about superheroes, and it was Jupiter's Legacy. Is a comic book.
Okay.
Apparently, it's a whole family of people that go to an island, get superpowers because they get a vision saying if they do this, go to the island, they're gonna figure out, how to end the Great Depression, and it gives them superpowers, which sounds very weird, but it's also this whole thing of he has kids, and he's like, I hope I can pass on, the good vibes that I had, and give it to my kids, and it's a complete failure because it's the whole idea of, passing on power to kids, and they don't quite get it, and instead they grow up spoiled.
Yep. It's so tough because you, like, even in real life with, like, money or life lessons or whatever, like, you want to give people a helping hand, but if they don't properly absorb it, if they take advantage of it, if they take it for granted, then we got problems. Capital P, problems. You're petting the dog.
Yeah. But yeah, no, it's anyway, so yeah, that was what I looked into a little bit, because I wanted to, and then just time got away from me. So, but Gundam Live is coming. I'm very excited to see how that goes, because we've already got that statue in Japan, the moving Gundam statue that does a little bit of stuff, like kneels.
Yeah, I am super excited for the giant robot future that we are very close to. Oh man. Yeah, and I'm sure that, like, the Gundams for this, they're probably going to switch between actual models and 3D, because for the action scenes they might need to do something dramatic that they don't want to use an 8-foot robot for, but that's alright. I think, just speculation-wise, the way Netflix has done things, they're probably going to use original Gundam and not Gundam Wing, and I say that because the original Gundam, that way they aren't, because Netflix's track record with anime adaptations is very, 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 very poor. So
I thought it was all right. I had heard really good things about the Full Metal Alchemist anime that they did, the live action version that they had done.
So what I mean by this, Death Note. Do you remember the Death Note adaptation?
No.
Okay.
Oh wait, no, the one that was set in Seattle. Yes, I remember now.
Light Yagami is no longer Light Yagami. He's a white dude named Light Turner, and it's terrible. It's legendarily bad.
Well, the other thing that is important to note is that it's not Netflix that's making it. It's signed for Netflix, but it's Legendary Pictures that's doing it.
Okay, so it's not Netflix overseeing this. They got some people who do a good job.
Right. They're like, I don't think we can do this one. We did like I said, I thought they had done all right with because I had heard good things about the one that was the Full Metal Alchemist one, but
okay. And for you kids at home, Legendary, they did Pacific Rim, they did Pan's Labyrinth.
Yeah, if the Legendary did Pacific Rim, you got the guy from Kong Island. It's gonna be, at the very least, it's not gonna look like shit. That's what it sounds like.
Yeah. Is
that if the writing's terrible, at least it's gonna look pretty. And hey, remember me? I'm the guy that was like, ooh, giant robots.
Guaranteed 5 out of 10. Giant robots.
All right. Okay, so kicking it up to Mortal Kombat Watch. All right, so it was supposed to come. Mixing it around. Anyway, Mortal Kombat. It was supposed to come out yesterday. If you didn't know,
I did not.
Yes, the live-action Mortal Kombat movie was supposed to come out, I believe, on HBO Max, right? Or theaters. It's supposed to be out. HBO Max. Or some places, I guess, that would have theaters open. Like, it doesn't really matter because it's not actually coming out yesterday. It's actually coming out in a week on the 23rd. And they're pushing it back one whole week for one reason. And it's not because there were other movies that were coming out like they first said.
Is it because they had to CGI out Henry Cavill's mustache?
Actually, they had to CGI something in, I think. So, word on the street is that apparently the Mortal Kombat movie was pushed back a week because WB wants to make its own MCU. And how would they make a Mortal Kombat MCU? What would they do? And apparently it involves RoboCop?
Yes, and I will tell you why. So I have a friend who's really into Mortal Kombat, and
do we not want to mention his name?
Not yet, not until we get his consent.
Okay.
Yeah. So
we're just going to call. Do we have a fake name that we can
Boomer.
call? We're gonna call him Boomer. Okay.
Okay. So Boomer is a little bit older than me and John, and grew up with Mortal Kombat, and Mortal Kombat's DLC is ridiculous nowadays. And I apologize to Boomer because his favorite franchise is being co-opted by what I would call Boomer nostalgia, because Rambo is DLC, RoboCop is DLC, I think a character from The Walking Dead is DLC, as well as Alien.
Negan?
Do what?
I think it's a Negan that was going in.
Yeah. So you have characters from all these 80s movies, Alien, Rambo, RoboCop, that are now Mortal Kombat DLC, because why the hell not? So I could see where if WB owns the rights to Rambo, RoboCop, and Alien, they could make a Mortal Kombat universe and just say, hell, why not? This is now Super Smash Bros., except it's Super Smash Boomer nostalgia.
Well, it's going to be Super Smash Bros., but it's also going to have a movie deal. But yeah, no, the reports are coming in that apparently it's supposed to be a post-credit scene that's going to be added in with RoboCop. And I can see RoboCop being added to this, into this universe because, they've got other characters that are in there that have cybernetics. There's a whole entire group of cyborg people. Not to mention you've got the character Jax, who's got, Earth cybernetics. So a half-human, half-robot cop doesn't bend the mind too much for me.
Nope.
Watching them justify it, why is he? Well, I guess seeing it in live would be interesting. But they're spending a week doing that, is putting him in the post-credit scenes of, hey, he's here. I wonder who else could be here.
Clank, clank, shoot. RoboCop bears his medal. Or shows his medal. There we go. RoboCop shows his medal.
Oh man. So that is pretty much the nerd agenda for today. Next up, wanted to give a small bit of time to the future. But not just like the. What am I trying to say?
The future, Monty!
Well, I've got two things. One, to talk about future games and future gaming stuff. The first thing that would be on future gaming, though, would have to probably be E3. Or at least that's one big thing I want to talk about, while we're here and, sitting on it and looking at it. For those who do or do not know, E3 is coming out. It is going to be... Okay, so here's I got a couple of bullet points for everyone to know. Things to note, things to remember. If you decide to come to E3, I definitely think you should. It didn't happen last year. And, support the program, support the, the ESB?
ESRB?
No, ESB. Electronics or it's
the ESA?
ESA. Yeah. Yeah, because I want to see more of these. I want to see more programs like this. If we start losing E3, you might lose things like PAX, and it's a fun, experience. And hopefully it won't be, like last year or like this year ever again. But that really depends on the idiots that are out there. So the first thing to note is that E3 2021 is going to be completely online. And it'll be running from June 12th, which is a Saturday, to June 15th, which is, I believe, 3 days. So that should be Monday?
Tuesday. Yeah, because if Saturday plus 3 days is Tuesday, because Sunday, Monday, Tuesday.
Yeah. So yeah, June 12th to June 15th, completely online only. Yeah, Saturday to Tuesday. Okay. I don't know why I had to look at it. With
well, normally it's Friday to Monday. So yeah, what the hell?
I don't know.
Like, what's going on Friday that they had to push it back? Sorry guys, virtual Elton John concert, can't do it.
June 11th. It's No, it is what it is. Probably going to be like working more on like signups and registrations online, and then June 12th will be. That's what I'm thinking, because of course it won't be available, to be in person. So the only way you can actually come in to see it is going to the E3 app itself. I guess they're making an app. That's going to be one way to do it. There's of course also going to be the major media services and streaming services of Twitch and YouTube, and of course all free. Though there is mention of badges for special media, press, and influencers. Let's see. So far, people who have called in and shouted out to the world that they're going to be there is we've got Xbox, Nintendo, fantastic, you guys, Capcom, Konami, Ubisoft, Take-Two, Warner Bros. And their universe, and Koch Media. So all those guys have agreed to attend. Yet to say anything, and probably not going to show up. Bad on you guys. Sony, EA, Activision Blizzard, Sega, Bandai Namco, and Square Enix. Sony, I don't think has really actually participated in anything for a while, right?
Yeah, I think both Nintendo and Sony withdrew from last year's E3 before it got pandemicked.
Yeah. Well, Nintendo's back this year, but they still also do their own Nintendo Directs.
Yep.
So I don't think this is going to be too different from what we see usually from those, but it'll be sort of everyone doing their own Direct.
Yep.
Something interesting to see follow, because I think this happened last year. When E3 canceled, someone came out with Summer Games Fest. And that's still going to happen. And it is to follow E3 in July. So it'll be interesting to see, first E3 happens, does anyone save anything for Summer Game Fest? Or is it going to be sort of like, hey, thanks for filling in for us, we're back, get out.
Well, with E3 comes like the prestige and all of the industry contacts and all that kind of thing. So I could see with Nintendo's return, they're paying lip service to all of those people that they view as important in the Western games industry. Whereas with Summer Games Fest, like, oh, you guys exist? All right, oh, here's indies. Here's all our indie games. There you go. There's the indies coming out for Nintendo, because the indies aren't as welcome on an E3 stage. You don't get as much like social clout amongst the elites by showing off your indies on the E3 stage. So everyone's gonna circle jerk themselves at E3, shake each other's hands, and then all the good stuff's gonna be at Summer Games Fest. Well, not all the good stuff, but like you're bound to find something you weren't expecting at Summer Games Fest, because these things like E3 with the level of the level of visibility they have, they're kind of locked in a box about what they feel comfortable showing.
Okay.
Yeah. So, view all those directs, man. Anything you can find. Like, I know Whitethorn Games does they did a wholesome direct last year, because like Whitethorn's whole thing is like, we do comfy games, guys. So like visual novels, games with low difficulty, like, just nice little things, man. They aren't looking to publish the next Dark Souls, but if someone has a cool, chill rhythm game or platformer or visual novel, like, they like that stuff, and they have fans who do. Okay. So once you get once you get tired of the commercialism of E3, you can move on to Summer Games Fest, and that can lead you down like other publishers. It's kind of like with comic books, you know, because like you don't necessarily follow superheroes, you follow writers because you like what those writers do. Yeah.
All right, sounds good. Thank you.
No problem.
All right. Now on to something completely different. Why is this not increasing in size? It doesn't matter. I'm worried about font for something I'm not going to keep around for. All right. Last and definitely not least, we have the TBLFG, the big list of future games. So these are games that are either going to come out in the rest of April here, or I'm going to cover May. I don't know why I'm going to cover May, but I will. So I won't do another May list.
Just hit me with April, and I'll give you a yay or nay.
Okay, we'll do. Okay, so first off, we got this VR game that's coming up called Mask Maker. It's coming out for both PlayStation VR and PC VR. Here in about 3 days. Last I heard. Puzzle game. So that's gonna be interesting. I don't know much about it. It was like I'm literally started at the bottom of the list and was removing and checking out games. I don't know why, but I started at the bottom of the list and then went up. And this is actually the last game I was going to check and then didn't. Because you showed up here to move my couch. But it's a VR game. I definitely say, try it out. It's a VR titles. I want to see them go. And you know what? If it's bad, give it bad reviews. That's all I can say, because I want to see VR succeed. So trying out VR games and finding out what does and doesn't work as VR titles is really important. If you're going to be influenced by me, that is my influence. Next up is Judgment. Judgment is coming out for PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X, and Stadia. Nothing of the previous generation, or the current, no Xbox One, no PS4. And that comes out in 6 days on April 23rd. It is being made by the same guys that do Yakuza. Ooh. It is essentially Yakuza meets LA Noire. It is their true crimes of LA, but instead it's true crimes of, I believe, Tokyo. It's in Japan. But it's very much more of it's a Yakuza fighting game, but it's instead of the point of an underground criminal guy, it's coming from the point of view of a detective, Gumshoe, with some more, and most of the detective work though does sound and seem like it's pretty superficial, but it does have some pretty fantastic combat from what I've seen, if you're liking the Yakuza fighting styles, I think.
Okay, so real quick with Yakuza, they've had the same main character, Kazuma Kiryu, for like the past 6 games, and they finally replaced him in Yakuza Like a Dragon with this guy named Ichiban, who's all like wild and crazy, and he has like vivid hallucinations, so like battles are sometimes like JRPG battles with like menu-based combat and shit. So I can see where after, 10 plus years of developing the character Kazuma Kiryu, you have people that wanted someone more wild and someone more serious. So it sounds like Ichiban is the people that got to express the wilder stuff they wanted to do, but then these other people feel way left out. So you know what? Judgment is that side game that lets those people explore. What if we didn't make Ichiban the main character of Yakuza? What if we made Angry McBadass?
It also could be something similar to how, like I was saying, it's the LA Noire. It's hey, let's make a bunch of these outlaw gangster, let's make a bunch of bad guy games, and then every now and again we'll make a game about a good guy.
So like this.
Detective is. We're in a day and age, though, of course, not all. I say good guy, it's a huge gray area. It's really. Yeah. That might also depend on how you fucking play the character. You could be a really shitty detective.
Yeah. But
still, Judgment, it's going to be playing out, as a. I'm not sure if it's a police detective or private detective either.
Right, but I do like how they took the mainline Yakuza and took it in this less serious direction, but they still left room for the creative team that's been there forever to explore a more serious take on that exact same engine and concept.
Yep. Well, I think it's also interesting. It's you can only write so much for a single character and a single story before you need to change things up. I think that's like, and I think what weirdly kind of reminds me of like Dynasty Warriors. How can they make 9 games about the same couple 100-year period over and over again?
They never stop fighting, dude.
It's not even like different. They're doing the same story 9 times.
They just keep fighting, dude. Lu Bu's just always out there with his big ass spear.
But it's not like it's a Deathloop, which by the way was going to be coming out this year or this month, and it's not. Take that, PlayStation. It was on this list. I took it off. But yeah, no, it's a loop. It's everyone dies, and then we start again at the beginning, and it's a new game, new mechanics. Sometimes it has custom people who don't really exist. Why is this guy named John in the middle of the fucking Chinese medieval era? I think it's. So anyway, Judgment coming out looks nice. Coming in 23rd. Nier Replicant. It's got a longer title. It's like Nier Replicant, version 1.22474448719 is coming out April 23rd as well. Coming out for PS4, Xbox One, PC. Not the new systems. Weirdly enough. And of course, it's more Lolita Bullet Hack in Hell.
Yep.
But it does look like it's a sequel, not a like DLC or anything like that. But it's, if you, it looks like one of the games. If you like the last one, you're like this one. I didn't play it because I think it'd be weird. I don't know. I wasn't super. I don't know. It just seems weird to play a Lolita character. Well, for me,
Japan is really weird like this because like you have like Hideo Kojima.
You could just stop at Japan. It's really weird like this.
They have some brilliant high concept shit, but they gotta throw some skinny underage bitch in tights to be the main character.
It was even like who was it? It was a creative director or who was it that said that I really just wanted to see
Yoko Taro.
Yeah, he's just like, I really just wanted to put a character, it's like.
And so, John, there are 2 ways to approach Japanese thinking on this. You have Hideo Kojima, where he has a giant character Bible, and he has the character Quiet, who breathes through her clothes, so she needs to be scantily clad all the time. Or you have Yoko Taro, who just doesn't bullshit you and says, I like sexy women. Like, it's Japan, but you get to pick your flavor of Japan. You get vanilla Japan and coffee Japan. I say
we're
coffee.
We're going to move on with this topic.
Coffee has like 43 different chemicals.
We're ready to move on!
Flavor! Moving on!
I'm not going to talk a lot about this next one. It's Assassin's Creed Valhalla, Wrath of the Druids, April 29th. It's coming out to, it sounds like pretty much all systems at the last, Assassin's Creed Valhalla came out too, but I'm not going to get it.
Yeah, it's Assassin's Creed. I don't care.
I stopped caring about Assassin's Creed after Syndicate. Because I think Rogue is the only one I still want to play, because it still goes by like the old adages and not Souls-like gameplay. But at the same time, it's just that whole thing of it's not. It just frustrates me that they abandoned it and went on to go and try and replicate other games and add their own flavor to it.
Yeah.
So, I'm not saying that you don't have to play you can't like Assassin's Creed. There are people who are out there who love Assassin's Creed and the new way that it's going to. I don't know if Adam is a huge fan of that or not, but
he played Odyssey. He loved Odyssey.
Yeah, if that's your cup of tea, fantastic. I'm just saying it's not mine, and I won't be picking this up on April 29th on my particular Xbox One. What I will probably be trying to pick up and likely hide inside of my body is the new Pokemon Snap. Coming out April 30th for the Switch and the Switch alone. Woo, baby.
Nostalgia.
It's gonna be fun and interesting, and they're doing everything with it that I wanted them to do with the Wii U and the Switch. Of you hold it up and I'm gonna borrow this, and you can use the Switch as an actual fucking camera. It also had stuff in there that I didn't think I would want or need, like the fact that before you send it off, you can edit it. You can edit the photos you take. So if you take a photo of a Pokemon, say for instance we take a picture of Arielmon over here, but instead you get my fat face in the picture mostly here in the center. Like the last game, if I was in the center, I'm apparently the star of the fucking show. But you can crop my fat head out and just make it about Ariel over here. Zoom it in on her. Focus, you can blur everything around Ariel, make that little blanket in her cup. She's so fucking adorable. And you'll get different points for whatever actions or things that they're doing. And of course, with the technology that we have now, I'm sure you could get a lot of different reactions out of Pokemon based on what apple or berry you throw at them.
Yep.
And how hard you throw it.
They got rid of pester balls. Just so you know, you are not allowed to directly harass a Pokemon, but you can throw a berry at them really hard.
Yeah, it's gonna be. I'm excited to see. I should have pre-ordered it. I haven't pre-ordered it, but honestly, I'm gonna find a way to get it one way or another. And like I said, hide it in my body. Next, we've got two games that have not been actually announced on what day they're coming out in April. So it might not even come out yet. It might come out in May. But one looks very interesting. One looks very weird. And I'll let you decide which one is weird and which one is interesting. So first off, you have Century, Age of Asses. Age of Asses! Age of Asses!
Yeah!
Okay. Century, Age of Ashes. It is going to be a dragon flight simulator. Very similar. It's not similar, but it's actually. I don't know what really to compare it to.
Inspired by, paying homage to, or
it's not paying homage to anything. It's a dragon flight simulator like we haven't actually had since. There was one back in fucking PlayStation is the last one I heard that was like crashing all the time.
So the last one I am aware of was in like the Sega Saturn original Xbox days. And this was one of the games that really got a stick up people's ass about emulation because there was no other way to play Panzer Dragoon besides on an original Xbox. So yeah, Panzer Dragoon is where I was going with that.
Okay.
That's one where you can fly around on a dragon.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't remember if Panzer Dragoon was on rails or not. For some reason I thought it was, but this one, very much not. It's a very interesting sort of. It looks like a flight simulator dogfight thing, but of course, everyone's on a dragon. Different kinds of classes will have different sorts of abilities. Like, of course, you've got one that's more of an aggro character of you hit somebody and you can track them down in game modes. You've got some that can go completely stealth and invisible. Very much like that's very clearly inspired by fucking How to Train Your Dragon of when Toothless goes fucking. Stealth mode. And you had another one that was like, you can have like a poison trail, follow. If you're being, someone's following you, just start spitting out smoke, poisonous smoke behind you. And of course, there's a bunch of different like multiplayer game modes that are very similar to like, team deathmatch, capture the flag, a lot of team gameplay going on. So it looks like a fun dragon flight simulator that we have not had in forever. Next up is Rogue Invader. The idea is apparently that you are, you've arrived at the Xeno planet, and you've been commanded by your commander, that you guys are going to invade the Xeno planet. The problem is, after destroying the Xeno Armada, you were literally left only with one drop pod and one pistol. So you were invading this planet one soldier at a time. And they request that you send up alien, Xeno weapons and Xenofauna and send up everything you find, so that way you can better research and resupply while trying to invade the planet one soldier at a time. It looks interesting. It's one of those things of it's sort of like, it has the feeling of it takes the original XCOM research path of, you want to kill and capture as many aliens and alien weaponry as you can in order to improve your own weaponry and make you strong enough to blaze through the game. But at the beginning, of course, you are stuck with just your pistol and whatever you pick up off the ground. And of course, you're facing on apparently an entire invasion force on your own, because you're the only soldier they could send down at the time.
Thanks, capitalism!
I did like the trailer dialogue. I don't know if that's going to keep coming, but it's like the alien doesn't seem to understand human physiology, and there's just a couple different references to, they're talking about us, but at the same time they don't get it right. So, like, calling our ears, I can't remember what eyes. It was like, I've got visual receptacles everywhere. Don't you mean eyes? Yeah, it's. Who said that? That must have been the music. If you're looking for Ariel, you're hiding.
Makes sense. Quick update. I know everyone was curious. There is a program that Nike is implementing with currently 10 Major League Baseball teams, and all teams will get one rolling forward, and so all teams will have them by 2023. They're called City Connect jerseys, and that is what the Red Sox debuted today, was their City Connect jerseys. They are yellow and blue to honor the Boston Marathon.
Okay.
So that's why
The Boston...
They were offered 10 options, and that's the one they went with.
The Boston Red Sox chose to wear blue and yellow.
To honor the Boston Marathon, though. Because the Boston Marathon, I guess, is yellow and blue. So is UCLA.
Yeah.
And they have a lot of UCLA alums. And also the Aruba flag. And they have like 3 Aruba players. So I guess that...
I'm just saying the color's a lot like that softball you brought in today.
You're not wrong. I'm not here to tell you wrong.
I don't know.
But the good news is the Cubs debut theirs on June 12th, and the White Sox debut theirs on June 5th.
Oh, we won't be there for Cubs, unfortunately. Or at least I won't be. I'm going to be at E3.
Virtually?
Yes.
So, in the basement while I watch baseball upstairs?
Does this work out?
Go
On the new
Cubs,
couch.
go! Go
On
Cubs,
the
go!
No, you're just talking about 2 games that are supposed to come out in April, haven't gotten a release date. One is a Dragon Flight Simulator, if you're interested. Completely on PC. Yeah, that's another thing to mention, is that they are both coming out on PC. I don't
Dragon
think...
Flight Simulator, and then what's the other one?
It's called Rogue Invader. It's a very weird one. I don't think you'd be very fond of it.
It's a roguelike.
I don't know if it's going to be a roguelike, but it's definitely a side-scroll shooter.
I don't mind.
Also, it's a side-scrolling shooter.
I don't mind side-scroll shooters. I just don't like games where you're forced to be mean to animals. That's why I don't like Red Dead Online.
In this one, you're invading an alien planet and you're shooting all the aliens because your boss has told you to.
Did they look like dogs?
Do they?
No, they kind of look like
There.
xenomorphs with guns, and you might have to kidnap their animals.
Are we saving their animals?
No.
We're researching them,
Oh.
which means we're sending them up and they're...
Yeah, I'm not fond of this game already. Yeah, absolutely.
I didn't even say what was happening.
Look, honestly...
Anything with animals in lab, I'm not super
We're
fond
just
of.
trying new hair care products, Lord.
I use cruelty-free makeup. Thank you.
Speaking of animals, something that does have a release date that's coming out that I'm sure a lot of crazy people are simping for is Resident Evil.
7? Oh, no.
Resident Evil 7.
They
Or Village.
Capcom made a sponsored video with a YouTube scientist about what would the crush forces of her stepping on you.
Kyle Hill.
Thank you.
Yeah, he did. I saw that and I'm like, oh. He's also the same guy that did a bunch of videos on, what would happen if you got X superpower, and not the, the actual superpower, or it's like, what if you got super speed and none of the, abilities to deter the bad side effects of super speed? Or what if you got super strength? And it's a bunch of these things. If you don't want superpowers, because, if you got them, they have terrible side effects that, are kind of just, washed away in the comics.
Yeah.
Like super strength is, technically when you're trying to lift up, say this was 1,000 pounds and whatnot, and you lift it up only here, all the other weights that are on the side and whatnot are still weighing down on it. You're only lifting up here, and it's really a determination of whether or not does the rest of this have the strength to carry everything else.
Yeah.
Because just because you can hold everything on it doesn't mean that it's not going to collapse on itself. So say you pick up a car, you pick up the car in the middle, does the rest of the car have the strength to hold the rest of the car?
Yeah.
If not, you're snapping the car in half by holding it.
Yeah.
Because you're lifting it up.
Imagine you just hold up with one hand, like the car's gonna shoot around your hand.
Oh yeah, because it's like all the strength is there, and even if you're holding it on like a stronger part of it, it's not going to like completely save it. So unless you had a way of, making the surface area of your hand large enough to cover the surface, the surface area underneath the car, you're putting all your weight in a very small spot.
Yeah, if you had like two Supermen, okay? Because there is a frame underneath your car that is designed to be lifted, and people use this when they have to change a tire. You put your jack on that frame and then you lift it up. So if you have one dude lift up one half and one dude lift up the other half, you got it. I mean, it might still like.
But that also
sideways.
spreads out the surface area first by spreading it out to 4 different hands, and then spreading it out between the 2 parts of your frame.
Yep. The specific parts of the frame that are supposed to hold up the car.
Right, so they do have the strength to hold up the car should you pick up the fucking car.
Yeah. Just anytime you need to save someone, like, hold on, shit, where's that beam? Ugh.
So anyway, this was talking about being stepped on, which I don't want to. I don't know if I want to actually watch the video or not. Just because he kind of goes into some some detail, gruesome detail. But yeah, no. If you're interested in Resident Evil, it's 7. The last one was 7. This is 8.
Yep. Village.
And
yep.
I think it's gonna go well, just because it's they're trying new things, and now for some reason the new thing right now is big ladies and werewolves, maybe even vampires. It's a very interesting thing. For something that got its big start in zombies.
I hate to break this to you, John. Werewolves and vampires. Twilight was 10 years ago. These people are getting the nostalgia wave. It's coming back, baby.
Brett, but they're not going to do it with glitter. They're going to do it with big ladies.
Who's that lady?
All right. So we've hit May, by the way. So how are you feeling? You got a couple more in you because it's 7 o'clock.
I got a couple more in me, yeah, sure.
Okay.
By the way, do you need to pick up your dog or what's going on with Porter?
We'll find out. They will call us.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah, they said 7 or 8. So.
Oh, okay.
Next one coming up. This one actually would be very interesting to play with you, me, and Adam, and whoever else we can get. Because 4 is the number of people we need for the teams on Hood Outlaws and Legends. So this was coming out May 10th. It is coming out for PS4 or PS4, PS5, Xbox One, Xbox Series X, and PC. And it's essentially Payday meets Vermintide.
Yeah.
Meets Hunt the Showdown. So the idea behind it is that there is, of course, there's a keep, there is a sheriff, and there is a what's it called? A chest. Loot. And 2 teams are trying to secure this loot. Both teams have 4 people of you've got the sniper, you've got the sneak, you've got the brute, and the mage. So those are the 4 kinds of characters you can choose from. It doesn't sound like your team has to be made of one of each. It could possibly be 4 mages, 4 snipers, etc. But you'll, of course, be facing off against, the sheriff and his goons, as well as a second team. Both teams trying to get in, infiltrate, secure checkpoints, or secure respawn points, and secure the chest, and then get that chest out of there. So it looks interesting. I wasn't super sure I was interested, and then I did my go through and look through it today, and I was like, this looks fucking cool. Because like I said, but the 4th thing was on there was mage, so there's magic involved with some of this stuff. So it'll be interesting to see how they do some of the magic, some of the other like sneaking and infiltration mechanics.
Yeah,
and I'm hoping for some cross-play, cross-platform, so that way I can definitely play it on my Xbox if you guys are playing it on your PCs. Let's see. So how does that sound?
That sounds fun. As someone who plays a lot of Counter-Strike, I like dynamic gameplay like that, and it sounds like it could be really good. The development on this is probably on a tightrope, because if you make the bandits too strong, the sheriff doesn't matter. If you make the sheriff too strong, the bandits are never going to win. What happens with Counter-Strike normally, because in that game, normally you're playing Demolition, you have the terrorists and the counter-terrorists, and the terrorists have to plant the bomb at either A or B, which means that the CTs have to put defensive formations around both A and B, see where the T's are coming. What I'm curious about with Robin Hood is, let's say one of the bandits...
Just Hood.
Hood.
But you're getting where it's going.
Yes. So one of the key things in Counter-Strike is cover and silence. You can actually move without making any noise. So professional Counter-Strike boils down to the CT's like, okay, where are we? Where are all the grenades being thrown? Because there's a lot of quiet positioning that happens during a demolition match, and all of a sudden, all the grenades go off, the T's storm the place, and they're trying to plant this damn bomb, and they're hoping that they're right, and that it's less defended than the other site. So let's say with Hood, there is a class that can silence their footsteps or become invisible. That class is going to be super overpowered compared to everyone else, because the lack of information that your opponent has is going to be worth more than any mage that can cast a fireball, because if your opponent sees the mage and knows what the fireball can do, they're going to 100% plan around it. Whereas if you just pick 4 of the stealthy-ass ninja dudes, they can't find you, they can't see you, you could bloody well be anywhere, and they're paralyzed. And unless they do it themselves. So
it sounds like the mage is going to have more than just... It's going to be more spells to identify places, identify people, sort of... They're more the like I believe I want to say it's controller.
Okay.
And their offense though is going to be very tough mace. They're going to have some good hand to hand, but they're going to have a lot of utility spells. It sounds like. And while you've got the stealthy guy, it does sound like from the development trailers and whatnot, the sheriff himself is very powerful. Well, most of his goons are pretty mediocre, but the sheriff himself is a force of nature, is what they say. And most characters can't stand against him on their own. You don't really need to. If you're sneaking, you can like pickpocket the key off of him. But other than that, it's also, fighting against other players while also not trying to alert the guards too much. But it does look very fun. Looks like something that I would love to dip my toes into a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. There's only so much
it's
Counter-Strike
PvPvE, which is very interesting.
So the sheriff is computer controlled then?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, the sheriff is computer controlled. The other team is humans. So it's going to be interesting.
Because then you throw in the balance of the AI. So yeah, no, I am very curious. I'm very interested.
Let's see. I think one thing to mention quickly, probably not going to really talk about though, is Monster Harvest, which is coming out in May for PC and Switch, which you could honestly put the title Pocket Moon Harvest Monster or Monster Harvest. It's Pocket Monster plus Harvest Moon.
Harvest Moon.
Ta-da.
Yeah. Woo.
You're fighting anaplants. or Planimals. Yeah, it's you make animals that we would fight in the. It's such a weird looking sort of combination of two things of the captured monster and the farm sim and with a story, and it's such a weird thing to look at, but I have zero interest in it because it looks too complicated.
Yeah,
there's a level of mixing game of game genres and whatnot that just kind of you get too diluted in good content, I think. And I remember like playing one at PAX where it was like the first level is one thing and then they changed the entire game to another the next level, and I don't think this is going to be something where everything's always something new, but it does seem like you would either want one or the other, and I don't think you would want both.
Yeah, if you look at like strategy games, certain strategy games where it's like with Final Fantasy Tactics and kind of that JRPG kind of bloodline is you have the people that enjoy like min-maxing their characters and picking equipment and skills and abilities. Then you have people who enjoy actually utilizing them in tactical gameplay, and then you have the people who actually enjoy like the visual novel dating some elements that usually get thrown in, and like the anime plots. So you're basically throwing 3 games into one with some of these titles.
Right.
And as people have grown up with it, they've gotten accustomed to that, but that doesn't mean they always perfectly mesh. And to cross Harvest Moon with Pokemon, if you're forcing the player to do both, and they only like one, then you're forcing them to play half of a game that they don't like, and that is a problem.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I imagine, though, it probably wouldn't be a huge problem for people if they just choose not to play it.
Yeah. What a strange game. The only winning move is not to play.
Yeah. All right, let's see here. The next thing, going to skip over a couple. Like, we got Mass Effect Legendary Edition coming out May 14th. Woo. Wild at Heart. I have no idea what it is. It looks like a cute story game, but I'm not interested. Rust is coming to PlayStation 4 and Xbox One. Now we all can play. We talked about a game last week called Roller Champions. Or Roller, I want to say it's like Roller Champions or something like that, which was Roller Derby meets Rocket League. And it's not the only game that is like that that's coming out.
Yep.
Not Roller Derby, though. Dodgeball. Let me say that one more time for you. Dodgeball. Wait, one more second. Let me use their anthem on you right now. It's not Dodgeball. It's Dodge Brawl. Knockout City is coming out May 21st for PlayStation 4, Xbox One, Switch, and PC. And it looks like Dodgeball that is very, very much influenced by the Rocket style or Rocket League style. I guess Rocket style doesn't sound too off though. It's set. You set it in a lot of these. It's not in an arena. It's not in an arena. That's the one thing that isn't Rocket League about it, is that it's not in an arena, but it's got a lot of power-ups. It's got a lot of different sort of abilities that you utilize to play a very flashy, jump-around, non-arena dodgeball. And it looks fun. It looks like one of these other games. It could definitely be a new esport if enough, care is put into it. But yeah, no, it looks like fun. Coming out May 21st.
Rad. I haven't played Rocket League in a while, but I mean, it's fun.
Yeah. Like I said, it's going to take... you need a fan base to carry it. And I think that this could get a good fan base, I think. Because it seems like a fun game. If you look at it, like I said, Knockout City, it looks like fun. It doesn't look super difficult. It's just a matter of you throw a ball or you catch a ball. And that's just the beginning. You can definitely make it more complex with the more abilities you take on and strategies you try to implement. But the main thing of it is you throw balls and you catch balls.
Easy.
Which is, that's an easy thing to pick up. Especially for a lot of these games that involve, shooting, you've got all these shooters and whatnot, and it seems like this one's, a lot of it is kind of auto-targeted, so it's not going to require a whole lot of, I think, expertise to get into it. but it will eventually have that sort of, that same sort of Rocket League, I can drive a car and score a goal, but I don't know how to do the jump, flip, knock a ball across the field kind of scoring that other people will do. So there will be definitely some sort of like level or some sort of like ceilings to hit.
Yeah. Auto aim on a dodgeball thing would be interesting. Because, like, either you throw it at the dude... Like, what incentive would you have in dodgeball to throw it anywhere than where the person is standing? Like, are you really going to throw it a foot to the left or a foot to the right in case they dodge?
The incentive that I have seen that's in this is that you can pass it to other players that are in more, like, advantageous places. Like there's some hang glider abilities, so if you get somebody that's like jumped up into the air that can see everything below.
Okay.
And like say there's an obstacle between me and this other guy that's ahead of me, I pass it to somebody above and they smack you down from up high.
Okay, so it's not just like on a 2D plane.
No. Like I said, it's not an arena. It's got a lot of different, very versatile like settings and stages. So it's
like laser tag kind of.
Kind of, but I definitely suggest at least checking out the gameplay trailer. It looks fun. It really does. I will definitely even try to give it a shot, when it comes out. Biomutant, I know that they wanted a lot of people to talk about this one. I personally am offended by it because the one time I was close to playing it at PAX, there's rude people in front of me at PAX, and no one did anything, and I was upset. So I'm going to carry that to my grave. Maneater, I am King Shark. That is a statement I'm going to leave with that.
I'm a shark!
I'm a shark, yeah. But no, May 25th is Biomutant. It looks at the very least a little interesting with the fact you can change your character's appearance, and that has a lot to do with the gameplay of your character. Maneater is a similar sort of you mutate, but instead of being some sort of walking vermin creature, you are a shark. They both come out May 25th, only Maneater is coming out for the Switch. I think it might already be out for PlayStation and Xbox, whereas Biomutant is only coming out for PS4, Xbox One, and PC!
Ooh.
Oddworld Collection's coming out for the Switch May 27th. I've heard lots of good things about Oddworld. I've never played any of it. Don't at me, bro. Roots of Pacha coming out May 28th for PC. It is essentially a Stardew Valley, but in a Year Zero caveman Neanderthal, Homo erectus sort of, this is early humans. The whole idea is to, evolve. And it's got a little bit of magic, it looks like, in there as well, of you turn into animals, but you can also ride animals, so it's a very sort of, but as I said, Stardew Valley, it's two-dimensional, up-top view sort of thing.
My name Grug. Grug finds stick. Use stick to make mud.
Yeah.
Grug hit level 2. Grug not sure what level mean.
It's interesting to look at, but I'm not sure I'd pick it up personally, just because there's a lot of other like Stardew, Harvest Moon games that are out there.
Yep.
And it just seems like there's like I said, there's already they've got Pocket Moon coming out.
Yeah, everybody's making a farming sim.
Yeah, everyone's making a farming sim right now. But not talking about farming sims, World's End Club is coming out May 28th for the Switch. Made by the guys that did Danganronpa. It's another game that kills kids.
Yay! Dang it, Grandpa!
Well, it sounds like it's supposed to be the game starts with you being, you and this group of kids caught in an amusement park, told that they are now going to have to play a game in order to not die. And then the game is called off. And when they come back to the real world, it turns out that they're the last people left.
Yep, that sounds very, very similar to Danganronpa, because in Danganronpa, it's a bunch of kids locked in a high school and they can't leave, and they've been told that the rest of the world has been, like, blown up and thrown into despair. So there's some of the few people left. Yeah.
Yeah.
They're basically making Danganronpa 1 again. Which is fine.
But the whole point, though you're not trapped in a school, you're not trapped in the amusement park, you are traveling through Japan back to your home city. But it's got some interest. It looks interesting for folks who really like the Danganronpa series. I think you like it, right? I think you've told me that how much. Am I thinking about somebody else?
Probably Justin. But basically, I played through most of the first one for a podcast because I ran a podcast for a long time.
That's right.
And it was part of our Halloween special. So if you look on the Maho Studio YouTube channel, we have a long-form review podcast of Danganronpa, the first one. And it's good. It's interesting. It talks about like hope versus despair, and like these people have to work together. But there's also characters who aren't into that lovey-dovey bullshit, which adds some nice drama to it. I did not end up beating the game because there are 5 cases in the game, and at case 4, there's a little message that says, surprise! Or, sorry, congratulations, you're halfway through the text of the game. And I'm like, you're kidding me! So case 5 is as long as the previous 4 cases combined, and I'm 40 hours in. So, like, and what I've heard is that, like, 2 is longer than that, 3 is longer than that, 3 is even fully voice acted too. Oof. So, like, and the trials get more complicated, they get longer, so if you liked the gameplay in 1, it becomes far more refined and nuanced and entertaining in 2 and 3. But if you kind of got turned off, if you kind of thought it got samey after 35 hours, it is what it is. Okay. But the character designs are great. It's kind of like TF2 in the sense like everyone has a different silhouette, a different personality. They got really strongly written characters.
Yeah, no, I think I feel the same way about at least this group. Let me see if I can pull it up, a picture of them. This is also the second to last. We got one more.
Okay. Yeah, along those lines, the Danganronpa people, so you look at Fire Emblem, they've made the same damn game for almost 30 years now. Of course, they're getting better at it, right? So if you look at Danganronpa the same way, I guarantee this is going to be
like some of the kids that are involved in the...
Oh, that's almost like a Pokemon art style. They're wow, that's like cutesy.
Yeah.
This is like Happy Tree Friends shit I'm looking at right now, because that some brutal things are going to happen.
Yeah, I think you can actually just put it to main and be like, yeah, this is what I'm showing him now. Yeah, put it in that world's end. So, let's see. Last but not least, on my list of the big list of future games we managed to make it through, mentioning at least everything that I had not removed, King of Seas, coming out May TBC for PC, PlayStation 4, Xbox One, and Switch. Top-down pirate game, it looks like for the most part, but still sort of 3D. And it reminds me a little bit of Sid Meier's just by the appearance, but it also has a little bit extra. And there's other pirate games that are out there that I've seen that have more or have similar stuff to it, but this is not. It doesn't look like it's going to be a open world exploration game like Sid Meier's or Sea of Thieves. It looks like it's going to be very story influenced, and I don't know. It's not. If you're looking for a pirate game that has a story, this is where you probably want to go. I personally like to take my pirate games and take that free the free sandboxiness of it all, and just run with it. Yeah, because that's honestly what I think. When I think of pirates, that's where I go to of the run free. You can't stop me. Fuck the law. I don't have any boundaries. I'm going where the fuck I want to.
Yeah.
Excuse the swearing, but at the same time, fuck off.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. When you think pirates, like, you don't want to meet Captain Sandblaster and the Turd Herd. You want to be Captain Sandblaster and the Turd Herd. Like, you want that to be your adventure. So, when you... Like, I understand that, people want to do narrative-based stuff and, like, have characters that show up. But really, like, when you're a pirate, you want to be the star, man. Like, it's about that freedom.
Yeah. But, that is where it's, that's what's coming out. And, that has been the big list of future games, TBLFG.
Oh, my. We did
So guys,
Yay!
we did it. We made it through. It's 7:23 past when Cody said he was going to leave. So I think I've succeeded in ruining his bedtime.
You monster!
But that is all we've got for you guys today with our wonderful show. Hopefully I will have enough content to satisfy and sate your need. Thank you for joining me today and later on in the VODs. You can, of course, always check me out here at John Bosco or, Twitter at John Bosco Games. If you want to check out Cody, you can find Cody where?
YouTube.com/C/Maho Studio or Twitter.com/Maho_studio.
Alrighty then. Until then, guys, until tomorrow. I'll probably be on tomorrow morning streaming something crazy, insane, and probably not the same thing I always do because I can't seem to just hammer down what I do every day. So yeah, we'll see you guys tomorrow morning. Until then, be safe, be kind, be well, and talk to you on this flip side. Blah, 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 blah.